Yes, go. Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jamie. And tonight is my story. Oh, Lord. And it's one I really don't want to do. It feels like high school gossip. It's that old for me.
It is that old.
It's that old. And it did start in high school, technically.
But we are working our way through our lives and kind of like telling.
This is a pivotal one. This is the unhealed Jamie. You guys are going to get to hear a lot of me before. Like, witchcraft was definitely in my life. I had a lot of my practices, but I did not have... I was not healed in my relationships and in processing with people. I was still a people pleaser at this time.
Yeah, well, you were just 19.
Yeah.
Or 18.
Well,
18, 19. So she was really young.
I was 19.
Fresh out of high school.
Fresh out of the slammer.
Right into the Navy, out of high school.
Yeah.
And so this is...
all right, yeah.
The story of Billy Bob.
Billy Bob Thornton and I.
By the way, this is episode 76.
Yes, we're on episode 76, and I'm calling this one A Story of Staying Too Long. And if that resonates with any of you, I think at different times in our life, we stay too long. And sometimes we do that multiple times in our life for different reasons. And this is my story of staying too long, especially being young. There is some people-pleasing things. That's definitely when I started to notice traumas that I had not dealt with that sort of came up. But this might be a fast one too, you guys, only because I really don't like talking about him. Everything about this situation just feels like... I look for my growth. I'm like, God, I know I grew out of this. I did at the very end of it. But when I'm in it, talking about it, I just really do see that unhealed version of myself, and it is icky. It is an icky feeling to talk about the Jamie that was...
I think that's because you put up with things at that time that you would never tolerate. You would never tolerate those, even just not even that many years later.
I know, right?
Would you have... If you'd been just a little bit older.
Yeah.
And, I'm a mother, so I'm going to say what mothers always say, don't marry him.
Yeah.
I was very upset. Yeah. So I'm not claiming that. This doesn't make me feel any better about what she went through, but I knew that they were really, really young. And, I had a baby with somebody when I was 19, and after the baby was born, it lasted the whole relationship lasted 18 months. So I got pregnant 6 months in and then stayed with him. And he was, I should have thought twice about that. So that's why I kind of knew that it was a mistake for the marriage part of it. But anyway.
That's funny. I did the opposite. I got married and wouldn't have kids with him.
Well, that was smart. At least you did not have children. But you didn't want children.
No, I didn't.
I wanted children. I always wanted to be a mother. So I thought
marriage was kind of like, if it happens,
Yeah, really. I was a child. I was a teenager in the 70s where women were like, we don't need marriage and we don't need men. We can do it on our own. So I was a product of those women, the feminists. And
I was a product of that woman being the feminist, believing we didn't need anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and it worked. Okay, so let's go back to 1998. All the way back there. Way back when. I'm a junior in high school. And my mom just moved me from an area that I had friends and I knew everybody and I was really comfortable. And all of a sudden we're moving from where I was pretty comfortable being in my, poor kind of area. I knew everybody. We knew each other. The crowds knew each other. And I'd been around these same people for 4 years. And even though I didn't go to the same schools, the group kind of stayed the same of all the kids. We all sort of went to the same schools. I knew everybody. So I was leaving comfort. And I got to this new school, and it was preppier, and the kids' parents had more money, and I felt like such an outcast. I didn't talk to anybody. I was pissed. First off, I was really mad, and I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Well, it was I moved her at into 11th grade.
Yeah, the beginning of my 11th grade year.
The beginning of 11th grade because I got the opportunity to buy a house and I
know, you did so good. I'm sorry for being mad about that. Because I was pissed.
I thought that was the thing to do and I was finally in a position after, having left my second husband and working really hard, working 2 jobs, I was finally in a position to buy a house. And the area that we moved into, Kansas City, Kansas, had a reputation as being so much better than just Kansas City and Rosedale where we lived. lived, which was like really the hood. I thought we were stepping up, but as it turned out, all those people in Turner had the same kind of problems and issues. That
more money for drugs.
Yeah, they had. There was just a little bit better houses, but the people didn't change.
Yeah, my school changed. And
Your
so
school,
this is what led to sort of I wanted to rebel at this point because I was pretty pissed off.
I feel bad now about that.
Oh, don't be. What? It was the better thing for me. But
she was the one. Jolene was much younger. She was 5 years younger, so the move wasn't
she got hell also. Like her new school, oh my God, that was where Mia, and she had all those fights, and it was crazy for her too.
Mia was Rosedale, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think Mia was in what was her middle? Highland Crest middle school over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She ended up being like put in the basement in detention for like the whole year.
Her move also really affected her. Yeah,
it did. So it's tough moving your kids when they're comfortable. Tough.
Well, we had moved a lot before that, but this time we had just been in the same area for so long. We had moved houses and we had both transitioned from schools, but we'd really been in the same area where all the same kids still hung out. We could go to the same parks,
and it was very everything was close together, so like really you could walk. And when we moved over to Turner in that area, we were like far. We were, you had to walk across. You had to go across the highway to be in the neighborhood where everybody lived. We lived on the other side of the highway. Yeah. So it was a lot. It was a big, changes, big adjustment for the kids.
This is girls. Where I met a guy named Billy. He knew. I was like. I was a pissed off young girl. I felt like Avril Lavigne before she was her, probably. Like, I definitely listened to her all through, like, getting in the Navy. I really felt that, like, kind of rage at being told what to do, controlled. I don't have freedom. And I always thought, like, going in the Navy was going to give me all this freedom over my own life. Which is funny because most people think about the military as being something that, like, ties you down and puts you under structure. But there is a lot of freedom in it. So when I'm in this new school... I'm there. I'm pissed off. I literally don't talk to anybody. I'm so quiet. I'm almost bitchy, and this is brand new for me. I've never been outwardly like just mad and okay with everybody knowing I'm mad. Like just I would eat my lunch in the bathroom. I wouldn't converse with anybody. Well, one day this kid walks over to me and he's like, "Hey, I know you," and I'm just like, "Yeah, no, you don't, because I've never been here. Like I'm new." He's like, "No, you went to Harmon." I'm like, "I did go to Harmon. How do you know me?" He's like, "Yeah, I went to Harmon. I know you." I'm like, that's fucking weird. So all of a sudden he and I have this connection of we think all the kids in this school are really weird because they're rich and they act poor, like the way they dress, and they come in slouchy, and they're all like when we went to school being in the hood, like you tried to look nice when you went to school. You tried to pretend like you were doing well, but in the rich schools, all the rich kids acted poor. And I was like, this is fucking weird. Like I just did not. I'm like, you guys have money. Why don't you dress nicer? Why don't you care about yourselves a little more? Like we're scraping by and I'm making myself look nice every day. But it was just different. It was like a different culture almost, it felt like. And then he and I started hanging out because he was like, yeah, we're basically, from the same area, and like we don't like these kids. Let's hang out. And I was like, yeah, sure. He had a car, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I had my plan. I knew I was going in the Navy. I knew what I was doing with my life. Didn't care. And this guy pursued me a lot. He loved being around me. He was just like, let's hang out. Let me take you here. Then he started wanting to pick me up for school. I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. I don't know. And we're not romantically involved. We're not flirting. Nothing is happening. It was just like, we talk shit about people at school, and that's how we got along. So over time, we got close and feelings got had, and we probably started dating, I don't know, 6 months after that. There was a summer that we sort of hung out through the summer, and then starting senior year, I think we were dating in senior year, or soon after senior year started. We remained friends because, again, I didn't really make friends at the school. Well, fast forward, I go through my whole senior year, yes, we were intimate, and I was just like, oh God, this is guy number 2. And I have to tell you guys about this really weird rule that I started for myself when I was very young. For some reason, I felt like you could not sleep with more than 5 guys. Otherwise, you would be unwanted. You would be called names. If people knew about it, nobody would want to be with you. This is so fucked up. I see it now that's like misogyny, trying to keep girls in this, like, you need to be perfect and not with people and not have experienced life.
You need to be virginal.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Otherwise,
what do they call them? You're I don't know, used or something.
I don't know. The fact that in my little brain, when I was just 16 and so young and still naive, that I thought that I could only sleep with 5 guys throughout my entire fucking life. Oh, my God. It's just insane. So at this point, this is why I don't like talking about this time in my life, because I see all the unhealed parts of myself that I'm like, oh God, I'm so glad that's over. And I don't think like that anymore. I'm not so hard on myself, or there's not these misconceptions about like what your worth is based on.
Yeah,
right?
These unrealistic expectations.
Oh my God,
yeah.
so bad.
So he was number 2.
And that meant something to me. Like, if I'm going to sleep with somebody, I'm taking that very, very seriously. At that time in my life, it was like, there's no fucking around. Like, now we've been together. It's like, all right, now you stick with it. So when we're in high school, shit's easy because you're in high school. Nothing, like, we were just trying to graduate. Not a big deal. We didn't have any problems. He was a nice guy. He worked. Like, he chauffeured me around. There was nothing wrong with it, and it was easy. And that is the first thing I want to point out. I was in this relationship because it was easy. I didn't have to try at it. He didn't. There was no confrontations. We didn't disagree on anything. And I had my exit plan. I knew, he knew, and I knew I was joining the Navy and going. Like, I was actually already enlisted in the Navy at 17, so I was already enlisted, and he knew it. I was leaving. So I felt very comfortable. I was like, this is easy, because then I just leave, and it's like, so what? I'm not in love. You say I love you, though. Another big thing. Have sex with somebody, you gotta tell them you love them. I don't know why that had to be a thing back then, but it was like, you gotta be in love in order to have sex. That's Jamie brain back then. So convincing myself, or just saying it because that's what I thought you had to do. 2 things that definitely worked against me. Anyways, I joined the Navy. I left, and I was like, see ya, bye, have fun in Kansas City doing whatever the fuck you're gonna do with the rest of your life. Like, I'm going to live my life now. We stayed in contact. I was surprised that he wrote me all through boot camp. I mean, letters, like 5 letters a week. I was really surprised. I was like, dang, I think he really likes me. Like, it was just, I was surprised at how much he kept going with it. And then I got to my new command, and like, things happened. So he calls me.
He came to her boot camp graduation.
He did. He came to my boot camp graduation. That was so crazy.
He went up to was it White Bear Lake or Chicago?
It was not Chicago. It's Great Lakes.
Great Lakes.
Yeah. But we went into Chicago because remember we went to like the Navy Pier. Yeah. When you graduate boot camp, you're allowed out during the day with your family, and then you have like a curfew. You got to come back at night. But you don't get civilian clothes, so you're out in like I graduated in the summer, so I was in my summer whites, and everybody was. The whole city was full of summer whites. It was fun.
They were all those kids marching, and it was
thousands of us.
It was so cool.
It was fun.
The one thing I remember about you, did you do the flags?
I did.
Were
flags,
you a flag? So she was a flag.
I carried flag number 13, Rhode Island.
So flags, but I remember
like the color
standing
guard
there. No, I remember we were standing there, and one kid, the wind is blowing, and one kid gets the flag wraps around him, and he doesn't move.
You can't.
He does not move.
You're not allowed.
And somebody that was watching, one of the whatever people, they stepped out of line, and they got the flag unwrapped from him, but he did not move and try to unwrap himself. He waited for somebody to come, and I was like, damn, they really, in this, what was it, 8 or 9 weeks? In 8 or 9 weeks, I saw a huge change in her.
Yeah, it's 9 weeks technically, but you're finished at your 8-week mark. Then that next week is like transitioning out of boot camp into your jobs and stuff. Yeah,
it was a big change. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
I was very proud for it.
I was really proud of her.
I was ready for it. I loved it. I mean, I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I couldn't wait to get to a ship. I couldn't wait to like leave the U.S. I had all ththese goals in mind. So I finish my school. I get my first duty station. It's Guam. I'm there. I'm not there, maybe like 6 months, 7 months. Because as soon as I got there, I decided I was going to accept a temporary duty job on a ship. And I got shore duty, which that's really rare. In the Navy, there's sort of this thing where you get some shore duty, some ship duty. And that's where you can't be on shore the whole time unless your job requires it. Like the Navy Seabees, they're builders, but so they're like on the ground because their job is literally to build buildings. But most of the time we all have a rotation where you do like 2 years on shore duty and then 4 years on a ship, roughly in there, okay, depending on your job. So I just got really lucky that I got shore duty first, and I wanted Guam so bad. I could have gone to 4 places. I could have gone to Bahrain, Cuba, Sigonella, Italy, or Guam. And I was like, I'm fucking going to Guam. Like, that's the furthest from the U.S. I was like, yes. And I got Guam. So I was very happy with that. But so I'm in Guam like probably 6 or 7 months. And he calls me and he's like, we should get married. I'm like, really? What? Like, that's surprising. And, you know, I haven't slept with anybody. I haven't formed relationships. I'm just, like, doing my own thing. I don't really want to. That's not, like, that's not in my head. I want to be in the military. I want to, like, learn everything that I can, do all the jobs I can, and build my career. That was my whole focus. But yeah, he's like, we should get married, and like talked about it. Well, there's some things that are very appealing when you get married in the military. Very appealing. You instantly got to get a house, which then you can have your pets, and animals are like my life. So I definitely missed having a dog or a cat or something. So you can get your house right away. They give you like a third of whatever you're making. You get like a third of that chunk in just pay because now you're married, which was awesome. I was like, okay, so you get a house, you get more money, you get to have your animals. What's the downside? I was like, okay, I was like, yeah, we could get married, and then like I'll just, when we don't want to be married anymore, we just sign papers and then we're not married. I didn't really take it as a serious commitment either. Another unhealed part of myself that I was just like, marriage isn't serious. It ends all the time. Like, who cares? But kids, on the other hand, very serious. That's why I was like, absolutely not. I'm not having a baby with you. Are you out of your mind? We're like 20 years old. That's crazy. What the fuck? Oh, also, he and I, as far as birthdays, I think I was like 3 weeks older than him. We were the same, and we were both fucking Pisces. So he's a Pisces man. So I have a whole idea and opinion on Pisces men. Not that I know a lot. My nephew is a Pisces, and a couple other people my sister knows are Pisces, and most of them are psycho, besides my nephew so far, because he's young. But anyways, we're roughly we're the same age, you know, so like everything in our life. And he had worked really hard for this year and a half that I've been gone, you know, whatever. And he was just like, so I gave him this is where I fucked up, you guys, and this is where he called your bluff? Called my bluff. We're on the phone, long distance, right? It's like, he wants to marry me, and I just don't even understand why. I don't see my own value, and I don't know what he would want to do being married to somebody in the military, but like living in Guam is cool as shit, and like, you know, sure, I get it. So I said, well, if you fly here, yeah, I'll marry you. Because I knew the tickets were like $2,000. I was like, no way, this young-ass guy from Kansas City is going to pay $2,000 and take 12 hours to fly to Guam to marry me. This is another way that I saw that, you know, I didn't see my own worth. So I was like, there's no way that I'm worth that. A $2,000 ticket, a 12-hour flight to Guam, like, just no way. He showed up. He sure did. He showed up and expected marriage and brought a ring and everything. And I just, this was hard because I'm like, I guess I'm getting married. I said I would. And I
get your mother's advice because I was worried about him. Well, in addition to their age, you know, she's got a career that she's building. And I'm like, he's going to be riding on your coattails. What is he going to be doing?
And I didn't even know what that meant back then. I do now, obviously, because it happened. Yeah. Because my mom predicted the whole thing. And like, yep. She's just like, okay. I was just like, here's what's going to happen. And yeah. But we did. We got married in October, right the next year was 9/11, so it must have been 2000. So anyways, I want to tell you guys all the fucking red flags, because I know what you're thinking. Jamie, aren't you spiritual? Don't you have like a connection with the world, and you have tarot, you have all these fucking things you could try to use to get yourself out of these situations. Yes, you are 100% right. I did, and my universe was screaming at me, don't do this, it's a fucking mistake, here's all the signs. You guys ready for all the signs? Because this is funny. This is where it feels like high school gossip, where you're like, this went wrong and that went wrong and this happened and that and all the things. Okay.
This is when the universe is putting up roadblocks, and you refuse,
so many roadblocks,
and you just ignore,
keep going through them,
and you just keep plowing ahead and not recognizing that the universe is putting these things in your way to get you to stop and look and say, why is all this shit happening?
Yeah, all this bad stuff is happening, and I don't mean like over a couple months. I mean within the 5 days that he's kind of there, like it's all happening right then, all together, and I knew it. I felt the screaming even from me, and I was just like. I think in my head I kept thinking somebody needs to stop me. I wish somebody would, you know, it's that Taylor Swift song, Speak Now. Like, somebody fucking speak up for me, please, because I can't listen to you. You're my mom, and I can't let you tell me what to do. I'm 20.
That's true, and I didn't I wasn't very good at you know, I was still trying to use some kind of coercion, I think, to get her to. I told her what I thought, but I wasn't persuasive.
It didn't come out like that. It didn't come out like, here's what I think, Jamie, and here's, you know, let's talk about this rationally. She's like, you are fucking up right now. You are going to ruin your life. And I was just like, oh my God, so dramatic.
Listen,
it's going to be fine.
I remember I was in the kitchen. I remember this moment
so
like
vivid.
It was yesterday. It's so vivid. So I was at work and I got a phone call and I was in the kitchen and she tells me that she's going to get married and I'm going off just like that. I'm just like flipping out.
It's from 0 to 1,000, like so fast with her.
I didn't have much control of myself at that time either. Pretty unhealed.
Yeah, we'd handle it way differently now. But here's all the things that went wrong within like just the days leading up to it. So number one, he flew there first and like proposed, ring, everything. And I was just like, yeah, of course, sure, let's do this. Then he proceeds to tell me that he actually got into some kind of trouble and that he can't stay, he has to leave. He bought a round trip fucking ticket, so even more money, and has to leave and go back and go to court and he might go to jail. And I was like, my whole life, because my dad was in jail while I was growing up, my whole life I said I will never date anybody that's like my dad. The moment things start happening that are like my dad, like red flags, don't do it. He's talking about he's about to go to jail and I'm going to marry him right before that? What the fuck? Why didn't I be like, yeah, no, why don't you figure your shit out and maybe come back later? But I didn't. I didn't do that. So he was talking about, I don't even know what the trouble was. I don't know what happened. Don't care to remember. Like, I don't know. I probably wrote about it at some point. All right. So the other thing that I did with guy friends in my life, which all of my boyfriends have also been guy friends, I like to overpower them. I haven't really figured out exactly what that's about, but like I would wrestle little motherfuckers that thought they were badasses and could take me, and I'm pretty strong. I have really strong, long legs. I was always a runner, and so I would wrestle people. I'm like, bring it on, man. You think you could take me down? Bring it on. And it was not in a sexual way at all. It was like, I will
physically overpower you.
Yes. So I really, we used to play fight all the time. That was just something he and I did, like, you know, not cutesy fight, like wrestle and grab each other and see who would give up first. So when he's there, I kicked him in the hand that you're supposed to put the rings on, and his whole hand swelled up. So the day of, I couldn't put the ring on the right hand either. No.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, couldn't do that.
Yep.
So there's the first thing. He didn't pick up my bouquet the day that we were supposed to get married. And it was like very intentional flowers, obviously. I'm a witch. I had some things like really set up. He just forgot about it. That was it. We paid for it and everything. And it was just sitting over there at the bouquet place. And that didn't happen. I was like, okay, so now I'm getting married without my magical flowers. I was like, okay. We got somebody to marry us that like does stuff for the military, so it really didn't cost anything, but you had to sign all these papers and like they had to know everything was like for real and going to be set. So I did that, and you have to put ahead of time who your witnesses are going to be. My witness didn't show up, so the witness on the paper, since they didn't show up, somebody had to forge that name. That is really fucking illegal. Yeah. And not just anybody, it was my enemy. It was literally an enemy, a guy I had almost fought physically in the dorms because my friend had said that he touched her while she was drunk, and I fucking hated this guy. But he ended up being there with another friend, and she was my witness and had him tagging along. She was one of my witnesses that you had to have two, because obviously this dude didn't know anybody on Guam. I had to bring everybody. And the other girl didn't show up, so the marriage certificate was technically forged. Like, I should have said, like, my witness isn't here. We can't do this. There's so many opportunities for Jamie to be like,
there's
like so many exits for me. Just fucking lined up. The other thing, like the last big thing that felt really disheartening was that where we tried to get married outside, right? I'm in Guam. Of course I'm going to do an outside wedding in some floral,
beach.
The beach.
Were you wearing a long white dress or something?
No, I was in like a Hawaiian wrap with a swimsuit underneath of it. Yeah, right. No, nothing fancy.
Maybe I never saw pictures.
I don't know that there are any. Honestly, there's pictures in my head.
Because when she says she got married on the beach, I have this vision of
that it's all pretty and cute.
What that looks like.
No, actually, because we chose to marry on one side of the island, I didn't think about. And it was supposed to be like at sunset, perfect timing, all this shit. You know, I did do my witchy stuff before that. I didn't take into account that the mountain that is where the sun is going to set, sun sets over the water at that time, but it set over the mountain way before that. So it was completely dark. We actually had to go into the cars and sit in the cars to sign the papers. There was no ceremony. I didn't even put this one down. The little tiki lights that were supposed to like be lit up and you like walk and there's supposed to be something, there's no oil in them. They never got lit. So we had tiki lights with no light. I'm not kidding.
How many things is this? Did you count all the things?
Probably at one time. I haven't yet, but that's like already 6 or 7. It's so many things where the universe was screaming at me like, Jamie, just walk away. But I did not, you guys, the only thing I can say about myself is I did not have the words, I didn't have the courage, I didn't have the thing in my personality, the tenacity, the audacity to say, I don't want to do this. And then deal with everybody's disappointment, because that's actually what it really comes down to, is that my people pleasing was so hardcore that I was willing to get into a marriage when I didn't want to, because I didn't want to like disappoint him or hurt his feelings. Oh, poor guy. Now, I will say there was some strong emotional stuff, because, you know, Billy's mom had died very young when he was just 7. So like there was a mother wound there, and I really felt for him. And, you know, like he was, right after his mom died, he was hit by a car, and so he had this like massive Frankenstein, you know, scar leg thing that he was super insecure about. And I was like, dude, that's not you though. Like, so I was already trying to fix poor little baby bird Billy, and I didn't need to, but like I took that project on, and because I guess we had sex, it was my duty to stand by him for all time and not fucking care about myself. I don't know, not true, but it's like I look at what I did, all this self-sacrificing that I did over and over and over again, because I just didn't feel like I had the authority to really say like, I actually don't want to do this, and like all these things that are wrong, you should also see that we shouldn't do this. And he didn't say anything, and like I didn't necessarily look to him to say anything, but I kept thinking like, oh my God, this is another thing. This is fucking crazy. Another thing. The day of was so insane. I was like, is this happening? Is this real life right now? Like, I don't even know. It didn't feel real. Most of it didn't feel real. Oh God. So after that, guess what? He has to leave and go back to Kansas City and do some kind of court date thing. He doesn't come back for a couple of months or maybe a month. He gets out of whatever the fuck happened, I don't know, but probably because he married some chick in the Navy, and they were like, oh, you're married and you're gonna go to Guam, like, oh, go have a nice life.
Maybe that's why he married you.
Oh, don't say that. I never thought about that one. Oh my God.
Because it would look good to the judge.
Oh my God. I don't know. I think he got in trouble after the fact, but I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna learn about how what a not good guy, what a not nice guy this dude pretended to be, because he did pretend to be like, oh, like, I gave up my whole life for you. Like, nobody asked you to, though. Like, so it became a very strained relationship pretty much immediately, because he got to Guam when he came back from whatever he was doing in Kansas City. And I worked at a shelter where, you know, you try to, like, rescue animals on Guam. There's no rabies there, but there's parvo. And so they put down, like, so many dogs and cats every week. It was fucking heartbreaking. And I used to do community work because I wanted to be around animals. So I ended up getting 2 dogs. I got the house, we got furniture, all this stuff. He comes back, everything's fine. Well, then he realizes that there's no place for him to work, and he has a total just fucking mental breakdown because he can't get a job. So how does he feel like a man now? And I was like, well, you could bag groceries, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he flipped his shit. Bagging groceries was way below his whatever pride level. But he never got a job. So that was the first, like, discontent with him. And I worked 12 hours a day, 2 days on, 2 days off, then 2 nights, then 3 days off. Like, our schedule was very all over the place. He fucking hated it. He hated that he was always alone. He hated that I made money and he didn't. Now, the one thing that I can say he taught me is he was very good with money. He was an 8. If you guys have been listening to our numerology stuff, he was an 8. So he had this, like, CEO type personality. He really was good with money. He was very conscious of stuff he could save, and he had goals. There were goals that he would make with things, like back when we were younger. I mean, he always had a car. He was on top of his shit. He always worked. He was very serious about that side of his life. But when it came to being in a relationship, he was really verbally abusive. So he had nothing else to focus on. So he basically looked at me every single day and was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Okay, so I'm at a job now where I sit for 12 hours. I'm doing telecommunications for ships that are like in the ocean, and I'm doing all this shit communicating with them. So I'm like at an office job, and I've never done that before. I've always been very active. So I started to put on a little bit of weight. Not much weight, because if you gain too much weight, the Navy will like put your ass in check. But I went from 135 to like 155. So that 20 pounds, I was now, anytime I wanted to eat at home, he's like, should you be eating that? Do you really think that's good for you? And he became this like gym rat guy who was taking all these supplements and protein shakes and just disgusting. He always smelled horrible. He always smelled like supplements. I was like, you smell geriatric or something. Like, you're taking too many fucking vitamins. You smell like a pill jar, you know? I made every excuse in the book not to sleep in the same bedroom, same anything. Like, anything that I could do, I'd be like, I don't know, I don't feel well today. I'm gonna sleep on the couch. Like, I don't know, I'm just not good. Anyway, yeah. I know I was going somewhere with that. He became verbally abusive. I was scrutinized for everything that I ate. I was literally pretty much allowed, and it sounds funny to say it like that, but like he wouldn't give me shit if I was having a Diet Coke or eating fat-free popcorn. Those are the only times he didn't actually bother me about food. But I grew up with my mom baking and making desserts, and I used to like to do that so that I could take it into the job, like bake brownies or something. Our job is stressful and also really fucking mundane. We're stuck in a building for 12 hours, all of us, just trying to get along and like make time pass. So I enjoyed doing that for my coworkers. And since I had a house, I could. Now I'm fucking somebody at work because I take brownies into a whole crew of 50 people. So, and I'm fat and I go to the gym. Well, now I'm fucking somebody at the gym because I obviously go to the gym so that I can find somebody that I can have sex with, not because you're calling me fat every fucking day. So I went through this for 6 months. And when it came up for my reassignment duty, I chose a ship that was gone 8 months out of the year. And I was like, fucking score. I don't have to be home at all. Again, because I don't know how to get out of this now that I'm in it. I knew within weeks that I didn't want to be in. I knew before he even did it. I didn't want to be in it, and I don't know how he just kept going with it. I don't feel like I was giving him a lot of confirmation that I wanted to be in the relationship, but he wanted to be there, and so I just kept allowing it. I was like, well, if he likes me so much, then I guess, yeah. Am I ever going to find somebody who likes me this much, who pursues me this much, who... what I used to think is puts me first. That's what I used to think that was. And then when we lived together in Guam and it became this really verbally abusive relationship where I was always trying to run away from him, I started going to my friend Amber's, we lived in dorms before I got married. So I started going to her dorm room. Now I'm a lesbian. Now I'm sleeping with Amber. I can't have friends either because now I sleep with women. Every single thing I did was so scrutinized. It was I could not have a life. Then he started acting out pretty bad. He started drinking a lot, having a lot of people over to the house. We had 2 dogs. One night I came home and one of my dogs was drunk and he thought it was hilarious. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You cannot give our dog alcohol. He likes it. Okay. I saw so many things wrong unfolding. So I did. I took the job to be on the Essex out of Sasebo, Japan. And I was really happy because as soon as I got there, I was gone for 4 months. And I was like, oh, God, I can breathe again, And in that time, he, got a house out in town. He bought a Japanese car to drive around. He took care of some things back then. And he was saving the money that I was making. Our joint account, that money was growing. I was impressed that he wasn't just, doing frivolous shit. He didn't do anything as far as I know. So probably 6 months into our deployment, we started hearing rumors. And, if you guys have ever known anybody in the military or at least heard about military life, there's a lot of adultery going on. There's a lot of people sleeping around. There's a lot of what happens underway stays underway. There's a lot of, we used to make a joke about the don't ask, don't tell, because it was not about, being gay or lesbian or bisexual or anything. It was more don't ask who's sleeping with who and don't tell the spouses when you get back to shore. You got to act like it never happened because you would know the people that are seeing each other on the boat. They almost walk around like they're a couple and both people are married and they just all accept it. They're like, well, you need to have somebody when you're gone for 6 months. So you got to have a regular piece of ass. No, you don't. No, not really. You don't have to do that. But a lot of people operated in that way. And so the spouses...
Jamie was still on number 2 and only had 3 more to go, so there was none of that for her.
There was none of that for me. Shit. No. So with part of that, it was the other witch of the house is in training. Part of that was just staying gone and knowing that he started to hear things that happen on the ship and I started to hear things that happen back on shore. So all of a sudden there's all these things that come forward, we're going to be pulling in 2 months and now all of a sudden it's everybody's finding out what their spouses have been up to and they're like, did you hear the new guy? So we're the new couple, obviously, was sleeping with so-and-so and he went to the orgy at so-and-so's house and they did this and he was there for 2 days and they did blah, blah, blah. All the shit. And I was just like, what the fuck? Is this serious? So I got back and I was kind of like, is this real? And of course he's denied. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I heard you actually left the dogs somewhere for 2 days. No, you never let them out. No food and water. Is for real. Seriously. Just when I thought about the fact that he could leave 2 dogs alone in a house for 2 days, I'm obviously thinking about the mess that would happen. Like, how would they go to the bathroom? Where would they go? But that really got under my skin. Like, him cheating even was kind of like, yeah, I'll just divorce you. Like, that doesn't matter. But the dogs are, like, not taking care of your responsibilities. Yeah, I was pretty pissed about that. So when I got off the boat, he's there with, like, flowers, ready to see me. And I was like, I'm going to stay somewhere else. See you later. He's just standing there in shock. Like, what the fuck just happened? So I have to end up going back to my house the next day and getting clothes. And then it's a knockdown, drag out fight about everything. And how I've been sleeping with people on the ship and he's been sleeping with people on the shore. And it's like, only half the shit you hear is true. And I'm like, none of this happened. Well, I only did it because I heard that you were fucking so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God, we're in high school. This is horrible. I'm in my 20s. I wanted to leave high school so bad and grow up and be in the real world. This was the real world. This is what it was like out there. It was not fun. So after... Really, we were home for 2 months, and then I went on another deployment. And I knew then, like, being home for those 2 months was really horrible. We fought all the time. I slept in a different room. I would, like, we had 2 dogs, so one liked him and one liked me. And if he would come in the room when I was there, my dog that liked me the most would growl at him. Yeah, because we were that opposite in as far as, like, being together. I didn't want to be anywhere around him. Just didn't want to. So the next deployment that we went on, I was already thinking we were only going to be gone for 3 months. I was like, I've got to figure out a way to end this. And that's so funny, right? I was like, I got to figure out a way to end this. You file for divorce. It's not that hard. But I like had to come up with some elaborate plan of like, I got to do this. It was like I couldn't leave unless I was pissed off, unless I could really prove he did something wrong. It was like I didn't have the right to leave. Another unhealed part of myself that walking away for my own benefit was not good enough because I was too worried about failing at this marriage, this facade of a marriage, like worrying about what, my mom would then say, like, I fucking told you so. Like, there was all this other stuff built up around it, and I really wanted somebody else to end it for me. I wanted that so bad. And that's where I really find my greatest growth is that the whole time I was looking for somebody to rescue me, and the universe was like, you have to do it yourself. Like, you have to make the final decision. You have to get yourself out of this mess that you created. And through my numerology and astrology and my tarot card readings and my meditations, and like I did serious meditation work when I was on that boat, I finally figured out, I was like, yeah, I gotta have the balls to do it. It was really fucking hard. And so once I decided it, I called him and I told him, I was like, I'm planning on divorcing you. Like, just so you know, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be a part of this relationship. Well, he didn't take that very well, as you can imagine. And he started doing really bad shit. And he invited a couple of younger guys on the base, like 17 years old, over to our house on the military base to drink, and they got drunk, and then they went out and committed a crime. So he got deported. He actually got himself in enough trouble to where the Navy was like, yeah, your husband, we're going to deport him. I was like, that's fine. I'm divorcing him anyway. They were like, oh, perfect. All right, he'll be gone in 2 weeks. I was like, great. I love this for me.
So the universe did step in for you.
Kind of, yeah. But like, I had to make that decision and tell him, and then all the bad shit happened. It was like, then it was easy. Like, once I made the decision and actually told him that I didn't want to be with him anymore and I wanted a divorce,
then the universe took
care of it. I was like, oh, okay, well, that was a lot easier. So, some of the reasons why I stayed, though, is like, I wanted to keep my animals. I wanted to keep my house. The pay wasn't really that important because by this time I was already E5. I made good money. Like, I knew I could move out into town and I could do whatever I wanted, but it was just, like, losing my animals was so fucking hard. Sending them home with him because they had to take a flight and, like, go all the way back to Kansas City. And then he was in charge of finishing up the divorce in Kansas City. And so he got to speak on my behalf. And I will let you guys know that he was allowed to take half of everything from me. So in our bank account, there was like $22,000. He was allowed to take $11,000, which he also paid the whole like $800 court fee for the divorce because he took half my money. So you can fucking pay that half. And I had to give him everything from the house. But I will say that the Jamie that was like 5 guys only and I'm just blah, 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 that shit went away real fast. And no joke, I had already decided that there was somebody that I liked. And I was like, yeah, I am going to sleep with this guy the moment that this dude is on a plane and gone. Like, that is where I feel like I'm divorced enough. Like, he's not in the country anymore. So a little sickening fact that like nobody likes hearing is I just had sex all over the furniture that I had to ship to him, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. Like learning all the bad shit that he did. Yeah. So that was where I felt like, oh, I have to give you everything, like, and you want everything, because he could have said no, right? But no, he wanted everything. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll make sure, like, yeah, you're gonna get everything in the mail, including all the new shit you don't know about. That's fine. I don't care. So that was my dig at him.
All the DNA.
Yeah, like, yeah. You know what's crazy though? Like thinking back to it, not knowing all the shit that would come out later about all the people that he slept with, I probably had sex on top of other people having sex on that couch, which is not a fun thought to think of. It's like, oh, okay, well, I thought I did something that was like, I'll get you back. And he's like, got you there first. I don't know.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe that's why he wanted it all. Fuck if I know. I mean, I wasn't going to keep the bed anyways, just because, I don't know, once you sleep with somebody in a bed, like, do you carry it on? How long do you keep the same bed that you've had like 4 or 5 partners in? I don't know. That's a question. Beds are cheap enough. Yeah, that was... I feel embarrassed to say that, but it was who I was back then. That's just how
Don't feel embarrassed. That was, that was your way of getting back, taking some control. Yeah, taking back control from the situation that
feeling like fuck you.
Yeah, and it was the big fuck you, literally. Like fuck you. And
I never wanted to talk to him again, and we never have. But when I got out of the Navy and I went back home to Kansas City, my sister, who still lived in Kansas City because she's 5 years younger than me, like, she knew other people. So she had told me this story. Okay, like, this relationship's dead and gone. I've been through the boy after him. I'm probably with no, I can't be with Cam's dad. That hadn't happened yet. But maybe I'm to Cam's dad now. So, like, lots of time and space apart from this. But my sister tells me, she's like, you'll never fucking guess what. Like, after Cam's dad. Okay. She's here helping me. Thank you. She tells me that she met this girl who, I guess I was known in Kansas City as Jamie from Guam to the circle that like knew me or knew Billy or whatever. And this girl ends up telling my sister, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I slept with him when he was on his way to Guam to marry your sister, and I didn't know that. So this little motherfucking piece of shit, okay, just gotta say all that. This is why I don't like talking about it. It brings out my real high school side. Decided that he wanted to marry me. First off, he wanted to marry me, but he slept with somebody right before getting on the plane to come marry me. Like, what the fuck? So this whole idea I had about how he made me feel like I was worth something, like the way he chased me, the way he put in all this time, he was willing to like give up his life to do all these things, all this shit that I thought was like green flags. Thought these were green flags all the way around. No, I was just not in the know, a little too naive, didn't really understand like how sour and negative and awful people can be, and portray themselves to be in this like, no, I just love you and want to be with you forever. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth. No, that's not it at all. He was fucking born in Kansas City being a trash man. That's it. Not that that's a dig at anybody who has worked as sanitation technicians, but the fact that was his out, and then he went back and bragged about it forever, like, fuck you. Like, riding on the coattails. Now I know what it means. I didn't know what it meant back then. I stayed way too long in that relationship hoping somebody would save me from it, hoping that something would happen, looking for reasons to be mad enough to leave. But it was hard to admit to myself that I didn't want to be there in the first place, and that I just did it because it was easy. And I had to take some serious time off and like think about that I got into a relationship because somebody pursued me and made it look really easy, didn't treat me well, and yet I stayed. There was a lot around that. I wish I had reflections for you guys to really think, like, so that you can see what I learned to understand about myself. But truly, it's that, when I don't feel aligned with something, I just say no, and I'm not worried about disappointing people. Well, men specifically. Women I give a lot more chances to, especially if we're close. But for men, it's like, yeah, no, fucking, that's it. I don't care about hurting your feelings anymore, ever. Any of them. Don't care. I looked into kind of why women stay in relationships longer than they should, and a lot of time it's like low self-esteem, and I can admit I had low self-esteem at that time. I was afraid of not being worthy enough to find a person who would truly love me. I hadn't seen a good example of love and what a good loving relationship looked like. So this was my first idea of like, oh man, if a guy would do all of this for you, like that only happens in movies. So I was sort of rose-colored glasses a little bit with that, where it did sort of feel like a movie a little bit. But if you guys remember from a couple of podcasts ago, he is the one that said I had the most annoying voice ever. He is the one that said that. Red flags that I didn't see, that it was just like, oh my God, that's what? You love me so much, but yet there's that. So I chose to overlook little things because I was used to having trauma in my life, seeing things that weren't perfect. It was like, well, nobody gets the full happy ending. Like, that's Disney movie. That's a fairy tale. So I overlooked things. I hoped it would change too. I was like, I knew I was changed because I'd been in the military long enough, but I had hoped that he had changed, and he didn't.
That's something that is just universal with women. It's like, when I say that about your dad, when he's 35, he'll grow out of this. By the time he's 35, he'll grow out of it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No. Didn't happen. And I gave up at 30. Because I was like, this is never going to fucking change.
Yeah. Well, that's why everybody told me about Cameron's dad. They were like, once you have a baby, once your guys' baby comes, like, he'll change. No, he got worse. That did not happen. Yeah. So stop listening to people who fucking think they know better. Listen to yourself. That was the big lesson in this is like, I knew. And yet I was looking to everybody else to tell me or confirm, yes, you should not do this. You should get out of this. This is wrong. I didn't have necessarily the financial issues that make most women stay, or really a fear of being alone. I was totally fine being alone. I liked being alone. But it did go back to like feeling really bad for him and his situation, and like, what is he going to go back to? I don't know. There was a little bit of guilt around that where I felt like I did take something from him somehow, and I don't know how the fuck that worked. Like, what kind of mind game I played on myself to believe that I was indebted to him because he gave up some of his life to come and ride my coattails. I don't know. Still working on that one in therapy, I think. Not wanting to fail and, thinking it's my fault. I was definitely waiting for him to really fuck up so it wasn't my fault. And I think that's just my Virgo side of always wanting to be right. I always want to be right. I believe I'm mostly always right. That's something my husband and I have in common now, is like we pretty much think we're always right. And it's to a fault sometimes. Or we want to be right because we love looking at shit and knowing everything. That's like one of our things. I think that's it. I think that felt like a huge purge of information for you guys, but that relationship was so pivotal to me because I got into something that I didn't know how to get myself out of, and actually getting out of it would have been really easy. It would have just been to say, I don't want to be in this anymore. Nothing big had to happen. There didn't have to be a big blow up fight. I didn't have to let him verbally abuse me for as long as he did and talk shit and then sleep around and just like use the whole situation and then turn it against me like I'm the bad guy. I didn't have to let all that happen, but I did because I didn't have the words or the voice or the courage to speak up for myself at that time. And I didn't have anybody else who was looking at it going like, this is really bad. No, most people had worse problems than I had. So it wasn't like for me to complain about the little shit. Nobody was going, Jamie, oh my God, you've got to get away from this. We need to call somebody and get you help. Everyone was like, yeah. My husband has 3 other kids with a woman in Thailand. I'm like, oh shit, you win. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say about that.
They're all a bunch of really young kids who are just getting started in life and making mistakes that we do when we're that young. I mean, that's part of it's part of the process. When you're 20, when you're 19 and 20, you're going to fuck up. You're going to have to learn things the hard way. And later on, look back and say, oh man, I see so many things now that I didn't see then. Once you get some distance from it.
Yeah, you need distance from it for sure. Yeah.
And also have a little bit of growth yourself and a little more experience in the world with other people. And then only then do you really go like, oh wow, at 25 you were probably hella different than you were at 19 or 20.
Yeah, well, definitely. Because then I went through. I actually looked this up in my chart. I was like, so why that year? Because the same year that I told Billy I was divorcing him and we did all of that and he left and I lost my house and all my stuff. Like I had to get a different apartment. I lost my dogs. Like I lost this security thing that I knew I was coming home to. So it felt really different. But then just 4 months later, you guys, was when the whole thing, the Navy, my coworker in the Navy recorded me and then it got passed around the ship and then there was like this whole big blow up and like my career changed as well. That was all within a span of about 4 months. So I looked at, what Pluto was doing basically, and Pluto was in my second house of Libra and going, and it was the upheaval of home, of identity, of like all these little comfortable all your possessions. And
that's how you make money, and you know your money, and so how you spend
I lost my money in my bank account. I got a pay cut by a third. Like everything that Pluto would do to disrupt you happened in that year. And talk about change of identity. I didn't just like find my voice, but I allowed myself to be mad, uncomfortable, and like go forward with it. I just had my goddaughter here from St. Joe, and we went to the beach a couple times, and we walked there, right? And this is practicing being uncomfortable with people as a former people pleaser. All these fucking young kids, right? And I know I'm 45, but somehow when I'm around young teenagers, I still sometimes feel like there's that high school dynamic, like I'm not a cool kid and I don't have a voice, or like I'm not in the crowd, so I can't be like, get the fuck out of the way. Like I don't have like the commanding authority, but I'm a goddamn adult, and these are like teenagers or maybe early 20s kids. Anyways, they choose to sit on the stairs that enter into the beach, and they're filling up the whole thing, and there's only 4 of them, and I'm like, you guys could go, there's benches over there, there's plenty of places you could park your ass, but right now you're on these steps. And I know that my goddaughter was just like, she's a very nice, pleasant person also, and is not a disruptor, and is just like, no, I would just go around, I wouldn't have done that. I was like, I actually exercise this, where I walk right up to them like, excuse me, hello, hi, this is a stairwell, like you're sitting where the stairs are, where people come and go, and they're making everybody else go around. I'm like, I get that you guys are being disruptive as far as like you're owning your space and you're doing your thing, but I'm not gonna. So we walked out. First I asked them to move as we were going out to the beach. We went down, tapped the water, and then came back, and they filled in again, and I was like, oh. So then I came up behind him and I said, wow, we really need some more benches around here for people to sit, huh? You guys are having to sit on the steps and take up all this space? So I made it even extra awkward. And I look back, and she is giggling just this like nervous laugh, like, I wouldn't have done, I don't know. Like we could have walked around on the ramp. I'm like, fuck that shit. I practice now being uncomfortable, speaking up for myself, the space, whatever. And it's never in a bitchy, I want to speak to the manager Karen type way. It's more like, I know that old people pleasing me wouldn't disrupt people, because it's like, oh, I don't want to be a bother. Oh no, was I too loud in my own space at a beach that's public? Like, oh, I don't know. Fuck that shit. When I start feeling that way, I go out with some attitude. I put on my thigh-high boots and I go stomping out in town, and like I run some shit. I at least run my life, and like that's it. So I have had to find ways to practice speaking up for myself and getting through situations that, might feel socially awkward, or things that I wouldn't normally do, or maybe I wouldn't care. I could walk around the kids, but they're not sitting there like having a great time, having a conversation. No, they're like vaping, and they're little, they're just taking up space to be
annoying.
I was going to say annoying, but really it's like, I think they just go there and try to feel more free, like they're adults and they're allowed to take up their own space. And that's fine, but you need to be aware socially of your surroundings and not blocking entrances to places.
And not be rude. Mind your manners.
Yeah, and they weren't rude. When I asked them to move, they just moved. There was no confrontation whatsoever.
But, I mean, it's rude to sit there and have watch people walk around you.
Oh, yeah.
You should, I mean, you should move. You shouldn't be blocking stairs.
There's literally a bench 6 feet to the side of them that they could sit on, like a big picnic bench. They chose to sit on the steps. Like I said, I think that they were just, like, exercising their free will to be disruptors, and I guess I get it. But that is the story of Billy Boohoo.
and why you it's actually the story of staying too long.
It is. It's the story of staying too long.
I bet a lot of our audience has similar stories. I know I've got mine, like almost every single relationship.
Staying too long.
Stayed too long.
Same excuses? Like, were you waiting for something big enough to blow up the relationship so you could leave?
Well, I was more like, you were saying Billy was like wounded. So I would always find like wounded people. And it's like, but what would they do without me? I've got to take care of them. I got to fix them. Haven't fixed them yet. And once I fix you yet. Yeah. Once I fix them, then everything will be better, right?
Then I can set them free when they're all rehabilitated and shit.
And the other thing for me was like, once I invest so much time, I have a really hard time pulling myself out of it. Once I've like put in a year or 2 years, I've done all these things. I'm like, damn, man. And I get visions of grandeur where we're going to be married and skip to the Lulu down the road and have a picket
to my Lou, my darling.
Have a white picket fence with kids in the yard and all that shit. I'm like, that was my. That was what when I was growing up. That's what I saw. I lived on a street where all the moms had kids and they stayed home and the dad went to work. That was what was modeled for me. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so when I went out into the world and started getting in relationships, that's what I thought was supposed to happen. And, you know, it was very hard. I have so many stories, which you guys will hear probably over the course of this year, at least the significant ones that I spent hella time in and got a lot of damage, and my kids got damaged, and just just fucked up shit. So this is a story of staying too long.
Story of staying too long. Like knowing
the story of Billy and staying too long. Although his name will not be in it. His name will not be in the title because we do not even like to say his name.
I don't even say his and I don't know anybody named Billy, and I don't want to know anybody named Billy, and I don't. I'm good. I'm just fine. No. So I hope you guys enjoyed the.
Shorter. This is much shorter than we usually. I think we're coming up on close to an hour.
Yeah.
We're usually like an hour and 45 minutes with these. But this is, like Jamie said in the beginning, this is not a story that she wants to dwell on. There were lessons in here that she learned, and there were things really specific things that she wanted to share about her evolution, like what she realized after the fact, what she realized as she was going through it. You know, the people pleasing. Her people pleasing was something that she really had to learn not to do.
I had to recognize when it was happening, and then realize that's why I feel uncomfortable or bad, or I won't speak up because I didn't want to make anybody upset.
Yeah.
And you learn that in a home where what I really learned is that, like, when everybody else is okay, I'm safe. That's truly what people pleasers learn. We learn that we do that behavior because if everybody else around you is happy and okay, nobody's going to turn on you and you're not going to get hurt. So you really try. You don't even try. It becomes a skill. You're so tuned into their mood, their like how they're walking across the floor, their tone when they come in,
walk through the door, the look on their face, just their whole energy,
micro expressions,
the energy,
all of
just their whole energy. Yeah,
you learn so well. That is a secret language that you only learn through trauma, and when you have it, it is really hard to ignore it. It's hard not to fall back in those same traps, and so I do extra things to try to make sure that I'm not doing people-pleasing behavior. And the one thing that, I was talking to my husband about this podcast before I came here because I said, I got to talk about like an ex from a long time ago. And he never talks about his exes. He wishes I never asked questions about them. But I'd be like, what did you learn from your last ex? And he's going, what? Like, I don't know. Just like no reflection.
I've blocked that relationship out. What ex?
I love you. He's always like, there was nobody before you. I was like, honey, like, that's what he tries to tell me too. He's like, there was nobody before me. I'm like, but there were people because that's how we got here. But I was telling him, I'm like, it's so weird to go back to such a place where I was, and I've been happy with him for, 12 years or something. We're coming up on 7 years of marriage. So it's really weird to revisit something where I do see myself as so young, so unhealed, still going through the world as a traumatized person that, is just kind of like, you're just still floating along. I haven't done a lot of stuff.
And also, like, very inexperienced in the ways of the world and with people.
With people,
you learn so much as your 20s. If you're in your 20s or you have kids in your 20s or you've raised kids in your 20s, you know what those years are like. Those are the years when we really have to learn the hard lessons of what it's like to be in the world and interact with people and stand up for ourselves
and
voices, do all the things, and take care of ourselves and put ourselves first. So the 20s are tough, and I've got 2 grandsons that have just entered their 20s, and another one is coming up in a couple of years, and I'm just like, man, I'm going to watch them go through it, and try to be more supportive than I was when my daughter was like, I'm getting married, and I flipped the fuck out on the phone
she wasn't wrong
in the break room at work, and I think I cried. I mean, I was so upset.
You were really mad.
I was very upset.
Did you think that I'd have a baby?
I don't know. I just knew. I just felt in my heart that it was a mistake. That I think I probably was picking up from her that this wasn't really a dude that she was like in love with. Like I didn't hear her, talk about, oh, he's so great and all these things, and we have this connection and all that stuff. I didn't hear things like that, and I didn't get that from them when I saw them interact. We
were like friends. We were really good friends.
They were more like high school buddies.
Hangout friends,
hangout buddies. And even when we went up to boot camp, I don't think there was, there wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you, like if somebody that you really missed, there wasn't like the missing thing. So I think I recognized, even though I probably couldn't articulate it at that time because I was also unhealed, and I just knew that they were very young, and she had a career and a plan for a career, and he was going there and going to have jack shit, and that was not going to be good because men get very insecure, and then they start acting out when women are above them. When they see women as more elevated, more control with them. Like, she made the money. I made the money. And she had the job, and she had a place to be every day, and then she would be away for long.
Purpose, and he didn't.
She had purpose, and she had this path that she was following. She had gone and done these things. They'd known each other for a year and a half or 2 years, whatever it was, and from the beginning, she told him what she was going to do, and then she did it. And so for a guy to sit back and watch that, and for them to say, I think I'm going to go tag along. No, you know what? I don't even think he knew that would be a big a problem for him as it would be for any man. Yeah, because they have a really hard time when they're trying to figure themselves out when they're that young. And he's also damaged, lost his mom, all the things. So he's also fucked up. So. Anyway.
Pretty much we're all fucked up, and we just gotta like get on the same level of all of our fucked upness and heal each other and help with something. And
hopefully you find people. What is the Taylor Swift songs, like, you recognize the people because you have the same scars. And
same scars.
So that's how you know who your friends are, because you've got the same scars. I think that's the line. I'm probably not saying it right, but anyway,
we're the ones with matching scars. Now you know exactly who your friends are. We're the ones with matching scars.
Matching scars, yeah. So they did have the kind of like childhood trauma in common, even though, because she lost her dad. Her dad got sent to jail when she was young, and he lost his mom through a death or accident or something. She died.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what happened to her, but I don't.
So they had that trauma of losing a parent that they probably connected on some level, but that does not make a relationship, and especially when you're young and you need some time to grow up and be out in the world and away from your parents. They both were just leaving the nest.
You don't know who you are, and I didn't realize, I think my mom had tried to tell me that, like, you don't really know who you are yet. And I was like, yes, I do. I know exactly who I am. Okay.
She did know parts of herself, though, because she knew from a really young age that, like 5 years old, she started saying at 5 years old she wanted to travel the world. And then she realized as she grew up, when she found out about the military or whatever, and she intentionally picked the Navy because she knew that was her out. That was her that was her way to travel the world and get paid for it and see things that she dreamt about her whole life. Mm-hmm. So in that way, she did know herself, because when I was 19, I was a waitress. So and I had no career goals. I actually when I graduated high school, I had a grant. I had a grant to go to cosmetology school, and I got the books, and I showed up. I remember getting my book. I remember being in the parking lot and opening up the book and going like, hair follicles. I have to learn about hair follicles? I just wanted to learn to cut hair, and I did not go. It was been 9 months, and I could have had like a cosmetology degree, and I didn't fucking go because I didn't want to learn about hair follicles. That's how dumb I was.
Unevolved. We don't have to say dumb, but we're unevolved at these levels.
It's just stages. It's like you think you can't see ahead. You can't see ahead about how these decisions are going to impact your life when you're so young, because you don't have the experience yet. Even if you've seen your parents go through it or other people that go through it, it wasn't you, so it wasn't your experience. Once you get those experiences, and you really start learning those tough lessons. Yeah, that's what happens.
And I think the experience is better lived rather than, the stories.
Absolutely. It's really the only way. Nobody learns. We learn by doing, and we learn from our mistakes. If everything is really easy for us, we don't experience
There's not growth. A lot of learning.
There's not a lot of learning, and there's not a lot of growth. So
I will say that's, although I don't like looking back on the relationship and just all the ways that I ignored things or kind of like got myself into this mess, coming out of it was extremely fucking freeing. And I remember listening to Christina Aguilera's Stripped album on repeat for like a year or maybe 2. Like I found something in me when I was able to, when that relationship ended and I did move on, fuck, I felt so strong after that. Like, I really felt like now I know myself. And more shit happened that was like, kept tearing me down. It was like, no, but like, I have this strength. So I did find a lot of inner strength from that, which persists today. I mean, being in a relationship where you know you shouldn't have been and then staying for a long time and just waiting for shit to go bad. I'm quick to leave now. I'm real quick to leave. And I tell everybody that. I'm like, one wrong word from you and I'm gone. So, yeah. But that is the story of staying too long. And, you know, hope you guys enjoyed the rant, because that's what it felt like more than a conversation.
And, you can, Jamie will never talk about this relationship again for the rest of her life. So this is the end.
There's just no need to. End. Yeah. And, it's an important one, though. It was definitely pivotal. It built me a lot of things. It's when I recognized that people pleasing isn't a good trait. I used to say it like, yeah, I'm a people pleaser. I'm so good to work with. And no, it's not. That's not really it. So, I got my first psychology book. I didn't take the course, but I bought a college book that was psychology and learned about a lot of stuff when I was in that relationship.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was my first psychology book.
And then she went on to get her degree in psychology.
I got my degree, like 10 years later.
All right, witches. Well, thank you for being with us this evening. Yeah. We love you, and we will see you on the next podcast.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.